Welcome to Sit Down with Susan, a brand spanking new talk show that is originating from Greensburg, Kansas. You might be wondering why a small town in central Kansas is doing a talk show. Well, there isn't just one answer to that question, but every answer comes back to one important fact. Kiowa County is a great place to live, to raise a family, and to make your home. But sometimes, even those of us who live in small towns forget how special we are and about all the interesting people we have living right here in our borders. The purpose of Sit Down with Susan is to draw positive attention to the people, the events, and the talents of the people of Kiowa County. And we hope that you will make our show a part of your routine. So, whether you live here or whether you live elsewhere, we hope to bring you interesting, fun information over the coming weeks. So again, welcome to Sit Down with Susan. Today we're going to be talking about eBay. Now eBay's been around since the 90s, and we have a local expert, Joe Ross, who has been posting and selling on eBay for years. So I decided I would just do a little research of my own about this phenomenon. What I learned was that eBay started with a man named Pierre Omidyar. He was a computer analyst, and he just thought he'd just try to write a program to see if it would work like an auction. You know, he's an analyst. He writes programs. That's just fun for him. So he wrote this program just to see if it would work. So to test it, he thought, I'll just try to auction off this broken laser pointer I have. So he posts it. A guy actually bid $14.95 for a broken laser pointer. This gives new meaning to the adage, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, Omidyar, being the responsible good soul that he is, called him and he says, "Sir, you do understand that the pointer is broken, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's what I do. I collect broken laser pointers." Seriously? There are people who collect broken laser pointers? Well, he knew he had a gold mine. So by the time the business went public 3 years later, he was already a billionaire. I decided, well, you know, maybe we should have a little competition. I would give you some ideas of items that some were and some not posted on eBay, and let you try to decide which one is this. Was this really posted or not? But the thing is, they post everything. Everything has tried to sell on eBay. So I went to a site called the Top 5 Strangest Things Ever Sold. Your job is to guess whether they were actually allowed on eBay or if they were a violation. Here's the first one. In May of 2006, someone listed the country of New Zealand. I know, a country. Now, was that a violation or no? Take a moment. Yes, trying to sell a country is a violation, but on an upside, the bid was up to $3,000 before it was removed. However, you cannot sell a country without the permission of the countryman. Here's another one. In November of 2005, the original Hollywood sign, you know, that's outside on California, on the hillside, was auctioned off on eBay. Is it okay to auction off the original Hollywood sign as it sits up there on the hillside? Yes, it actually is not a violation. The man who owned it decided there were a lot of little projects he wanted to fund and needed some cash, so this original sign was sold for $450,000. This is my favorite of the 5, actually. 4 Australian men offered themselves for a weekend. The men guaranteed that fun, laughs, and beer would all be part of the unique weekend. Well, I've recently become acquainted with some Australians, and really, they have been full of fun and laughs. So I'm guessing these fellows could back their guarantee. What was your guess? Hopefully it was a yes, because this definitely was a successful auction. Back in 2007, these fellows sold their weekend idea for $1,300 in Australian currency. And you know what? I'm thinking that in 2007, there's lots of us in Kiowa County that could have used a weekend of fun presented by 4 Aussie men. Maybe next time. I can't even imagine how excited the winning bidder of that auction was. I still recall the first time I won a bid on a Beanie Baby during the 90s craze over them. I'm pretty sure I screamed and dashed away to share the good news. No doubt some of you have even been bold enough to try to sell on eBay. But I've never gotten that adventurous. So I'm eager to learn just what goes into listing, and then even better, selling, not just listing, but actually selling the item on eBay. So Joe is here today to talk about that. And if you would come back with us and learn from a pro, not only how to get an item ready to sell, but to learn tips about when the best times are to begin and end these auctions, Joe will have some ideas. She has lots of tips, so come back and let's learn from an insider. Hi, welcome back to Sit Down with Susan. Our guest today is Joe Ross. eBay originated in 1995, and when did you start posting?
1998.
Oh my gosh, as soon as it went public.
Yeah, pretty close.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, what? How? What are some of your experiences?
I got started, my cousin in Kansas City and I were having some health issues and we were out of work for several months. So she called me and said, hey, I found this thing called eBay and I think we need to do this. And so she bought me a computer, brought it to me.
No kidding.
Set it up and said, go. You know, so
and you had just the two of you, nobody to help you.
Nope.
No, you probably didn't even know anybody who was on eBay.
Nope. At the time when we were on there in 1998, when we started, there were 250,000 registered buyers and sellers. That was all that was on there worldwide.
Oh my word. Worldwide, 250,000.
250,000. Now, today, there are 100 million registered users.
You really were there at the very beginning of eBay.
And that was when the selling was good. Because anything you put on there, I like the vintage things, the 50s, 60s, 70s things that I grew up with. And anything that we would put on there that was vintage was snapped up.
Immediately.
Yeah, especially by people overseas.
Oh, really? Overseas?
Yes. Japan was really into the vintage things. It was not.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah, it was not unusual to sell something for $25 a piece of plastic, and then they had to pay $25 to ship it over there.
I know. Sometimes when I've bought on eBay, the shipping is more than what I paid for the item.
Exactly. Yes.
But it's also a lot of trouble for you, also, I'm sure, getting the shipping part on the seller's end.
It's easy because that's included in the form that you sell on eBay.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, all you have to do is weigh it and then insert that, and then eBay figures your shipping, so that's not a problem. The problem becomes doing the research to get to know if it's even worth selling. You know, I spend a lot of time searching on the internet, looking to see if it's worth anything. At one time I bought a box of items that I thought would sell really well, a flat, and it had lots of glassware, and I thought, well, these things are going to sell well. In the bottom of the box, lining the box, was an envelope, and in that envelope was a 70s guide to Disney World, traveler's guide. The stuff in the top did not sell, but the traveler's guide sold for like $90.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
And it was just lining a box
Yep.
of stuff that you got at an auction somewhere.
Exactly.
So how do you go about researching? I mean, I think that would be really time consuming.
It is, but I love to do that. You know, there's just
So for you, it really isn't work.
no.
It's fun.
Oh yeah, I make notes and I take them with me, and yeah, you just go on there, type in what you're looking for, you're thinking of selling, and then there is a place you can go back and look at what has sold the last couple weeks,
Oh.
and that'll give you the true whether it really is selling or whether it's part of the 100,000 over here that aren't selling.
Right.
So that's when you decide whether it's worth putting on.
And now with so many people selling, I know years ago, even when, I mean, I haven't bought for a long time, but it was easier, it was almost easier to navigate a long time ago because there weren't so many items.
Right.
I mean, I found 10 screens with 50 items each just of toothbrushes.
Yes.
And so that's a lot to sort through.
You have to narrow down your search field rather than, you know, you can look for toothbrushes, but you might want to look for
Like Oral-B
Yeah,
or a specific
Oral-B,
brand
yeah.
or something like that.
and narrow it down, or otherwise, yes, you'll get thousands and thousands of them. So basically, somebody can bring me, which happens a lot, bring me something and say, do you think this will sell? And if it's an assortment of things, probably the thing that I think won't sell is what's going to sell. Because, you know, the gaudier, the most unusual thing, that's what's going to sell. It's the cut glass or the, you know, something common that people think, oh man, this will really sell. An Atari game, or an Atari would sell. You know, a new video game or something probably isn't going to sell because there are 10,000 of them on there. But that one little booklet that they threw away 30 years ago, that's going to sell.
And I think you said manuals too. Don't they
yes.
sell well?
Very well. Yeah.
And like, that just slays me. Like, doesn't it you? Like, who would want a manual to show how to fix a tractor from the 1950s?
Yes.
But things like that really sell.
Oh, yes. In fact, I get pretty excited when somebody says, do you want these old farm manuals? Yes, yes, I do.
I remember one time you sold some of the ugliest beaded fruit that was like, seriously, there are people who want this really ugly beaded fruit? Because, like, oh, it was a big seller.
Oh, yes. Because people threw those away when the trend was over. It tossed them.
Yeah.
So that's, and people, there are just certain people who want to get that nostalgic feeling back, you know, who like the look, or decorating everything in 60s stuff.
Right.
You know, and also like, because I like the kitchen stuff and that sort of stuff and can relate to it. Then a trend that was in about 2 months ago, when there was turquoise kitchen things were really popular.
Yes.
Now they've switched to pink and gray. So the turquoise thing I bought about 4 months ago isn't
That's
going to
out.
sell anymore.
No.
And so now you start looking for pink, you know, so you have to just constantly be surfing and be looking.
And you
to
used to
see
do
selling.
this as a business, not just for you, but you used to kind of do consignment, didn't you?
Yes.
What was that like?
Well, it became overwhelming.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because, and I love to do it at the time because that means I learned something more about it. You know, I really enjoyed learning about all these different things. I had a friend bring me a pocket knife that he bought for $4.
Uh-huh.
We ended up selling it for $1,800.
A pocket knife?
A pocket knife.
Pocket knife? I should have been buying pocket knives at all those little touristy places I went to when I was a kid.
Because it had a
Why?
little Remington bullet on it as an insignia. And so, that's
And like,
just
where
it.
did you find that? I
Well,
mean, you know, you had
he
to
found
search
it,
and
yeah.
search. I mean, to find out what was so important about having that insignia.
Right. I just went to the internet and Googled it
Uh-huh.
and found out what it was worth, or looked on eBay and typed in Remington pocket knife, and then it all popped up, and I knew
And
we
it went
had a
for
gold mine.
$1,800. Oh my word, he must have been delighted.
He was.
As were you.
I bought a 10-cent used book on a book table,
Uh-huh.
and this has probably been 10 years ago, just because it was in the 50s and because I saw first printing on it,
Oh.
not knowing anything, and it sold for $565.
And you bought it for a dime.
A dime. So,
Oh, wow.
you know, those are the things you live for, so that,
That kind of makes all those other,
Oh, yes,
the
it
cut
does.
glass didn't sell very well, worth it.
exactly.
So why did you kind of phase out the consignment part?
Because it became, I got too pressured with worrying about what I was going to get for someone else, basically.
Uh-huh.
And because I have way too much stuff on my own that I've
You
thought,
are a bit of a collector.
yes, I am. Then I always felt I had to put their stuff ahead of what I was needing to sell.
Uh-huh.
And so, just due to some health issues, I decided that was a stressful part for me. So I just don't do that anymore because it's just too stressful for me.
Yeah, but you still sell lots of your own things.
Oh,
and you
yes.
still have plenty to sell.
Oh, yes. I average about 60 to 80 things on there all the time.
Oh my,
Yes,
that's lots.
yes. And so
How often do things sell? Like every day something sells, or with 60 to 80 items a day that you're keeping track of, what can you expect?
maybe one or two things a day selling. It isn't selling nearly as well now as it was back in the early days. Now the average is you sell about 1 out of 3 things.
And you're going to teach us how to sell.
I am.
Okay, in just a minute we're going to be back, and Joe's going to show us how to post, how to list it, how to describe it, everything we need to know to get rid of all that, what we thought was junk in our basement. Come right back.
Did you know the Kiowa County Media Center offers state-of-the-art audio production? What does that mean? It means professional recording for bands and solo artists, voiceovers, live events, on-hold messaging, the list goes on. It means that Darin, our audio producer, is Pro Tools certified to mix and master your audio recording professionally with the best tools in the business. It means the latest technology plus the professionals to do the job right. Check it out for yourself on the web at kwksmedia.org. The Kiowa County Media Center, leading the new age of communication.
Okay, welcome back. It's time to list on eBay. The first step is getting the item ready to sell. So I'm going to let Joe take us through everything soup to nuts to get something on eBay to sell.
Okay, I brought something today that we were thinking about selling. So first thing, you know, an old kitchen recipe box. And think, okay, this would probably be a good bet. First of all, you want to target an audience that maybe you could get 3 sets of people. You can target somebody here that would like collect the old wooden recipe boxes. You also can target someone who likes roosters.
Yes.
Bonus,
Oh,
there
there are
are
recipes.
recipes inside. And recipes
Can I
just
bid?
by themselves, you sure can, are bonus. So, okay, we've got 3 things right here that we could target 3 different audiences rather than containing it down to some broken whatever you were talking about. This builds your audience. First of all, when you get something, you have to make sure that it is ready to go. That's For me, the hardest part, I want to get into the job. I don't want to have to clean it, get it ready. But my cousin is so good at doing this. She'll take olive oil with vinegar and cover up all these scuffs, that sort of thing, so that the box looks brand new. You don't want to remove any price tag or anything off of it, and it's marked Japan on the bottom. So that's the first thing, is getting your item ready to sell.
Okay. Okay. That can be time consuming.
That can be, yes, it is. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're on eBay.com. So, and Grant is already signed in with the Media Center. So
What are they going to sell today?
today he's going to sell a Blu-ray player.
Okay.
Okay.
A new one or a used one?
This one's a new one, I believe, that hasn't, that's still in the box.
Okay.
That's a really good bonus.
Yeah.
In the box will almost double your price
Really?
that you will get. So if you...
More credibility, I suppose.
Yes, and people want the box. I have just sold plain boxes on eBay for $80-some. Because...
Why am I throwing out boxes? I'm throwing out boxes.
Exactly.
I should not be.
No.
I throw out all the wrong things.
Yeah. And so you want to save the original boxes. So we're going to go and try to sell this. Now we could search on here and search Blu-ray players and find out what they were bringing.
Okay.
And we can do that when we get ready to sell. But okay, we're just going to go up here and we're going to click on sell.
Okay.
And here we are. Turn your stuff into cash. It's easy. There is, you know, you can have a choice. You can sell it yourself. Someone else can sell it. But we're going to sell it ourselves.
Of course we are.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Okay. There are great tutorials on eBay. People will say to me, oh, I don't know how to do this. But eBay has come up with really good videos to watch. And so it really is.
They've taken a lot of the mystery out of it.
Exactly. So up here we're going to, they want to know what we're going to be selling. So we're going to just put Blu-ray player, and I don't remember the brand, whether, we'll say Sony, because I know they have Sonys on there. So eBay is going to find us some examples of Sony Blu-ray players on here. We'll say this is an 1100 Blu-ray player.
Okay. Now she's talking about Blu-ray players, but I'm thinking about boxes I have at home.
Great. Also,
I have a computer box at home. I'm thinking, oh, the computer died, but I better save that box.
There. Yep. I have an old printer at home from about 20 years ago that hasn't been used, and I looked on here and it was bringing $80 just for a 20-year-old printer. Wow. So I'm hoping it works.
Okay.
This is a little easier form to fill out than I'm used to doing, but this is a simple one. So okay, here it just automatically filled in Sony Blu-ray player.
All right.
Now that's okay, but you definitely don't want to just put on here Blu-ray player. You want to get a good title, something that somebody's going to look for, rather than just put Blu-ray player. It filled in the name that we're also going to put on here with original box.
Oh, okay.
Never used. NIB means new in box. That's just a little something that they put on there, and people will look for something new in box.
Because I couldn't imagine what you were going to add. I was like, what? Like, will ship a dozen sugar cookies so long? And what else could you add? But all this makes sense.
The more details you can get, see, it gives you a number of
how many characters you
right.
have. Okay.
And so the more you can talk about your item in there, the more words you can get in there means someone will be able to find it.
Okay. Now the condition.
Yes. So this, we're going to say there are several different conditions.
Okay.
This, he said he had opened a box, but that's all. So we'll just put it, I mean, you can look here and see unused item with no signs of wear.
Oh, okay.
Maybe missing the original packaging. Oh, no, ours got new packaging. So we're just going to choose new.
Okay.
Then we're going to add a photo. And he has some photos there, but there's also a stock photo. So we'll just choose that for ease. It's very important when you're selling something to have good photos. That's like other than a good title, that's the #1 thing. You don't want to put a recipe box on a table and then have dishes,
like clutter and things around
dishes
it.
and
You
clutter.
want an uncluttered area,
Exactly.
clean shot
Right.
that really shows off the item.
And good
And when
light.
I've bought, that's what I'm looking for.
Right.
I want to see nothing else, just that.
Right.
Several views.
Right. So you have 12 free photos. You don't have to pay for them. So you know, with my recipe box, I would turn it to the side. I would just picture the
front.
The chickens. I would turn it up and show that it's marked Japan. I would show that there's recipes in it. I would probably take recipes out of there, put them on
that's
the
a good
table,
idea.
and show
thought
the
of that.
recipes. Because I mean, they can see cards, but they can't. All they've
Who
got is
knows
your
if there's
word.
words, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So get the most photos you can. If you've got damage on a piece, even if there were a corner of this box of Grants that was all dented in, I would show that.
Oh, okay.
And then I would
So
show,
people know.
yes,
Truth in advertising
right.
and all that.
I would show the item out of the box and show that that corner was okay.
Okay.
So show as much as you can. Item specifics. Now, this is a good idea to do this. I don't know some of these points but it can ask you where was it made, what's the size of the screen, what's the,
Yeah, and
you
that's
know-
probably information you can get from the manual or the box
Right.
or something like that.
but also when someone is searching for it, those particular things will come up in a search. So it's just another way to add to your title.
More information.
The more information you can give, the better.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is details. This is where you want to write your description about the item. And so many times people will just say Blu-ray player in box. Now to me that's not nearly enough description. Then there will be at the other end of the spectrum, which I have a tendency to do this or did earlier, to tell them why they should buy this Blu-ray player, when I bought it, who I bought it, you know, from, all the tiny details. But people now are buying on mobile phones. In fact, 1/4 of the sales now on eBay come from the mobile phones, the smartphones. So they try to encourage us to condense your description and just on a few words on each line, because it doesn't all show up on a smartphone screen. People don't want to have to scroll across
Right.
on a smartphone
Right.
screen.
And
So-
haven't you sometimes written such a detailed description that you've convinced yourself not to sell it?
Yes, I have. I have done such a good job of selling that
That you
I've
sold
sold it to
yourself.
myself.
Atta girl.
Yes, and I'll look and think, oh, okay, I'll keep that.
Okay. So
So-
this is where the seller would detail.
Right.
Okay.
So, you know, Sony Blu-ray player, new in box. Now, even though we've stated it,
Right.
it's
Just
good.
in case it's like me and
Right.
they think nib is a treat
Yes,
as opposed
exactly.
to
Has
a description.
been opened, but merely
I know those flip around.
to picture.
Okay. And we can assume that we know more details to
Right.
add. Whatever.
You know, no problems. You always want to state whether there's any problems, does work.
Okay.
You know, you want to do all the things that you can think that a buyer might want to know about.
Okay.
There are two kinds of ways to sell your item. You can either do auction, where you can choose to run it for anywhere from 3 to 10 days, or you can do fixed price, where you can run it for a month. You have
okay.
a choice also, but that'll be at the same price. 2 to 1, things sell better at auction.
Really?
Yes. If you want to start it a little lower than what you would like to have for it, enough to cover your costs, but in order to get the buyers to start getting into a bidding war, rather than start it at $99.99 and then rather than start it at $399, what you want for, you'll get more action.
Oh, I see.
So there's where we're going to start it at $99.99. And they're suggesting start it at $15 or even 99 cents, but you always want to cover what your cost is and what you'll be happy with if you don't get another bid.
Okay.
You can also do a buy it now option where people are more impulsive now and want something right now. So if you can come up with an amount that you say, okay, out of this world, I want to sell it for $399.99. Put that in there and you might get some buyers, and you do frequently. We're deciding the best days to end an auction are on Sunday and Monday night.
Oh.
That's when the most people are watching the computer. They're done with the weekend, thinking about going back to work or whatever.
Oh, I would have never thought about the
Yes.
psychology of that.
Yes.
Ending it on a Sunday,
or Monday. And
Okay.
do it of an evening because that's when they'll be back home if they've gone somewhere for
Right.
the weekend. So those are the best times. You can also schedule when you want it to start.
Okay.
Normally, it's best to start it in an evening here, say 8 o'clock, which is 10 o'clock eBay time on California,
Right.
so that everybody will have a chance to look at it. Here we are going to select the shipping, how we want to get it there. You can offer free shipping. In this case, you wouldn't want to because it might cost you $50 to ship it. If you do decide you want to do free shipping, which some people like it, you should boost your price up another $50.
Okay.
But
Take into consideration shipping costs before
Exactly.
when you're making your choice here.
exactly.
Okay.
Personally, I like to ship it with the post office because it's the least expensive. You also can get free boxes from them.
I didn't know that.
Yes, priority boxes you can,
Oh.
and envelopes. And plus you can also on their website, you can also tell them you've got packages on your porch and they'll just stop and pick them up. You don't even have to take them to the
Oh
post
my
office.
gosh. That's fabulous.
Yes. UPS is a little more expensive, but some things that are heavy and big are cheaper to ship UPS. So you have a choice on that. Okay, we're deciding we're going to go priority mail. They've kind of filled that in here for us, I see. Or we can do free shipping. You have a choice to ship international or not. I would definitely advise international shipping. It just expands your market,
Oh, I bet.
and it's not any more difficult to print off an international label than it is
Oh,
just
okay.
one for U.S.
Because I do see a lot of people who will not ship
Yes.
internationally.
Right.
So
And
that's good to know.
They're just
That's a good tip.
Yeah, they're just unsure how to do it. Okay. Grant has already signed up for PayPal, which is an
Okay.
electronic site where you exchange money, and that has become the standard on
Right.
eBay is to PayPal. And it's safe. I've not had any problems. We fill in where we're at. You also have a choice of how soon you're going to ship it. That's another one. I could get into more of that details, but here returns, no returns accepted, or you could choose to accept returns. Say somebody gets it and they say, boy, this isn't anything like I thought. Go ahead and put returns accepted, because rarely, I've probably only had 1 or 2 things
Oh, wow.
returned.
That's not,
in
and in all these years
16
that you've been
years,
doing
yes.
it. Well, shoot. Go
So
ahead then.
I would do returns accepted. It's just buyers like to see that. Okay, so form is a little simpler. You don't have to weigh your package, where there's another form or two where you have to put that in and you get a little closer on postage amount, but they're assuming they know how much it is. Preview, we can look at it now. It didn't put our starting bid in it. We're going to have to go back and change that.
And so that's a good reason to preview, just in case there's something that
doesn't show up.
Doesn't show up.
There's our title. There's a picture. For some reason, that starting bid didn't show up, but we'll have to go back and do that. It filled in some specifics for us because we chose their picture.
A particular
their
type that they had information on.
And so here was the start of our description. And so, you know, it's showing.
And so would you just use the back arrow to go back and change the...
Hopefully you would do that and it would get back to where you were selling that. It should have done that.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, yes, here we go. And see, we show the starting price at $99.99. So I'm not sure why that did not stay in there. We would have to either that or switch to a different form, but for some reason it should have just automatically filled that in because we have the $99.99. So if all things were okay, then list it.
Right.
And we'll just go ahead and list it. We could go back.
You can go back still and change things as the seller. If there's something you want to alter.
Oh, but here it's saying, oops, you missed something. Now see, it's saying your value didn't get put in here, so we're going to put $99.99 in. Oh, we're not going to put that in there.
I think there might have been a comma there.
That could be. And the buy it now,
$2.99.
We'll put it $2.99.
Okay.
You can go back and revise anytime you want to, up until 12 hours before the auction is over.
Okay. So go ahead and click on List It again.
List it. Whoops. Now, scheduled date. Okay, we're going to schedule it for tonight at 8 o'clock to go on, since that's one of the better times when more people are home from work.
Yes, that's a good idea.
And home out of the traffic.
And always notice, I noticed that it was, Pacific. I mean, always notice what time zone you're posting
Everything is
in Pacific because the home office is in California.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, here we are. Good job. Your item is listed for sale. This evening it's going to go live at 8 o'clock.
Cool. Mission accomplished. Way to go. Nice work.
So,
okay.
It's time consuming more so than what people think it is. By the time you take pictures, get your item ready, get it listed, do some research if you even want to put it on there. It is more time consuming, but my main thing is...
You have a little addiction, though,
don't
you?
I do. I do. I have an addiction. In fact, it's very unhappy at my house if the computer is down because then I can't see what's selling. But to me, it's just a treasure hunt. And I am just... The thing is to see what people will buy.
That's interesting, isn't
it? It's
it?
just so interesting
and
to
very
me.
surprising.
Oh, yes.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and away from your auctions a little bit to help us find out how to sell our things.
You bet.
And it turns out that you don't really, I guess, have to have brand spanking new things. If you have a great box in your basement or some manuals that came with a stove you had 20 years ago, those sell. Who knew? So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your time and energy. And now, we're going to add to that. How many sellers did you say there were?
100 million.
100 million. Now there might be 100 million plus now that we all know how to sell on eBay. So thank you for sitting down with us and have a good day.
The internet has drastically changed the way we communicate. Are you keeping up with the times? The Kiowa County Media Center can connect you with viewers in markets all over the region, the state, and the world. Our technology keeps us on pace with the high demand of internet video content. Bring your audience from anywhere in the world to your wedding, conference, sporting event, concert, and much more. No one does high-quality video streaming like us. We are the Kiowa County Media Center, leading the new age of communication.
Thank you for coming back to Sit Down with Susan. We have a lot of talent in Kiowa County, and today we're featuring the musical talents of Darin Anders.
I'm reaching for a goal that is not in my control. The weight of my heart can barely be contained. I'm walking down a road that is daring to unfold. The skeletons in my closet gripping at my heart and soul. There's temptation to define myself with worldly worth and recognition. These labels are nothing more than forgery and lies. There's no holding back. The truth is I am full of doubt. I'm my own, all I see in life is unreachable heights. I'm living in a home that alone I could not form. The peace in my heart can't fully be explained. I'm pressing toward the prize, the cost your son is life. There's redemption in this temple, cleansing my flesh and blood. There's separation towards a different tide of extended grace and charity. These truths are nothing short of immaculate design. There's no holding back. The truth is I am full of doubt. I'm my own, all I see. There's no holding back. The truth is I am full of doubt. I'm my own, all I see. I'm my own, all I see. I'm my own, all I see in life. is unreachable high.